Good evening. We have a quorum, and it's 6:34. Chet Stencil is unable to be here tonight because he's ill, and I'm asking for a motion to elect Charlie Baker moderator tonight. Charlie's been our assistant moderator and has moderated the past couple meetings due to Chet being out. Is there a motion to elect Charlie Baker as moderator pro temp for this town meeting in the absence of the moderator?
I move to elect Charlie Baker as moderator for tonight's town meeting.
Thank you. At this time, Charlie will take over and read, and as the first order of business. Yes. No,
We have to vote on
okay.
that?
yes, you want to do that?
I'm not just having to yell. I mean, this is not
Okay.
happening.
Everybody can
Yeah,
vote?
yeah, you have to vote.
And then I'm going to swear you. Then I'll swear you in. That passed. Okay, we're going to swear Charlie in.
You have to vote first.
Hey, Dan, it just passed. Yes.
Okay. Whatever. I don't know.
Do you, Charlie Baker, solemnly swear that you will faithfully and impartially perform all the duties incumbent on you as moderator in accordance with the town of Auburn Charter, the town of Auburn bylaws, and the laws of the Commonwealth?
I do.
Okay.
So now we do the pledge.
Now we will do the first. Do we have a?
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, it's over there. Okay, please, we're gonna do the pledge, so please rise for that. I pledge
Pledge
allegiance
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ones that already signed, I have to make sure, yeah. It's signed.
Okay, so call them out.
You want to use the microphone?
Yep, just stand there. Yeah.
Come on. Yeah, Ginger, just use it. Oh, if give me the list and I'll read their names.
Ginger? To the clerk's table, please.
Here, I gotta go.
Call them up. Amy Margaret Castellano,
Okay, excuse me, could Amy Margaret Castellano
come to the front.
come to the front? Could
Roberta Baker,
Roberta Martha Baker come to the front? Could
Mark
Mark,
Moss.
Mark Moss come to the front?
He's got to sign that one. Carla Morano,
Carol Morano come to the front?
Daniel Diamond,
Daniel Diamond come to the front?
Dennis Natoli.
Dennis Natoli come to the front? That's it?
Yeah.
Okay, you will now be sworn in a moment. Hi, Mark, how you doing?
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that you will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all the duties incumbent on you as a town meeting member according to the best of your ability and understanding to the laws of the Commonwealth and abide by the charter and bylaws of the town of Auburn? Where's Amy? I need, Mark, you could. Okay. Sign. Mark, this is for the public safety one. And, oh, Amy, that's Amy's, and that's Roberta. That was Roberta? No, Mark. That's probably Roberta's that you got.
Thank you. Any more?
Thank you. Yes. Did you want it?
Mark? Signed it.
As soon as you sign those, please hand them back.
Sign that when you get that. That was for public safety. Oh. Oh, you have to get that one. Perfect. Thank you. Sorry for the confusion. All right, she all set there.
Okay? Deb? Okay to do in memoriam?
Yes.
Okay, I'm now going to read a list of the names of those former town meeting members who passed on during the last year. Mark E. Robinson, Robert Francis Johnson, Richard T. LaPrade, William F. Perron, Ann T. DeVericus, Guy R. Elliott Jr., Paul A. Gabery, Susan J. Weigel, Thomas J. Dufour, Philip E. Dumas, Robert E. Benoit. Would you please stand for a moment of silence? Thank you. Okay, just a couple of announcements for tonight's meeting. We'll be electronically voting tonight, this thing here, which will register the votes quickly and accurately during the meeting. Turn off any hot Wi-Fi, hot pots, radios, anything that will make noise. I will announce when the voting will start. The green light will show when the voting has started. The light will be off when it has ended, and I will announce when it has ended. During that time, you'll be able to vote. Press the green button for yes, the red button for no. If you accidentally press the wrong button, you can change it during the voting period. If you decide you do not want to vote, do not press any button, so you can press the yellow for abstain. Once the voting is ended, no votes will be allowed. All articles will show as a pass or fail. The two-thirds articles will fail if they do not meet the two-thirds requirement. If passed, they will be declared that they have passed. If you need to leave the meeting temporarily, keep your handset with you. Do not give it to anybody else to hold. If you need to leave the meeting completely, please place the handset in the labeled box at the table out there before you leave. Doreen Goodrich has offered to read all the motions this evening. Thank you, Doreen. Please have cell phones silent off. I thought I said that already. And if you wish to address this meeting, you must do so only after I have recognized you and so that you can come up to the microphone. When you do that, identify yourself by name and precinct for the record. If you're making a motion to second the article, please keep your hand up so we can see who seconds all motions. Okay, that's that and that. And now, turning to page 16 in your warrant for the first article. Article 1. To hear the reports of the Finance Committee, other town offices and committees, or act on anything relative thereto. Yes, Ann?
Good evening, Ann Kavanaugh, Finance Committee Chair. Good evening, and thank you for your participation in the annual town meeting process. The Finance Committee has completed its review of the Town of Auburn's budgets and CIP for fiscal year 2024, which you have before you. Now, I would like to acknowledge the hard work of our committee, and I appreciate their fairness in the annual budget process. The $80.3 million 2024 budget before you represents a $1.8 million or a 2.29% increase from the fiscal 2023 budget. The notable increases in the operating budget include increase of $463,523, or 3.44% in employee benefits. And that includes an increase of $462,525, or 10.8% increase in the Worcester County Retirement Plan. And this amount is after the town gets a discount of $82,973 by paying July 1st. Group health insurance is level funded this year at $8.5 million. There's a 4% increase in the school operating department budget. That would be $1,159,206. There's a 9% increase in the DPW department, $564,428.
He's fixing it.
The last payment for the high school is being made in the fiscal 2024 budget. And that amount for debt and interest is $1,237,600. Revenues were estimated in the usual conservative manner. Please remember that the state cherry sheet amount are estimates, as the state legislature will determine the final numbers for those revenues this summer, and any necessary adjustments to the budget will be made at the fall town meeting. Warrant articles before you tonight include various standard annual articles, articles with requests for zoning bylaw changes, an article we are requesting $350,000 from sewer retained earnings for engineering and designing sewers, services for the sewer infrastructure maintenance, and other requests. Regarding the warrant articles, the Finance Committee takes the following position: Articles 2 to 14, yes. Articles 16 to 26, yes. Article 27 and 28 defer to the petitioner. Respectfully submitted Ann Kavanaugh, Chair, Kevin Kennedy, Vice Chair, Edward Coleman, Trevor Sansucci, Michael Marshall, Diane Byrne, Patrick Jones. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Scott Wren, Select Board Chair. The Auburn Select Board met previously and made the following recommendations on the annual town meeting warrant articles. Articles 1 and 2, the Select Board voted to defer to the petitioners. Articles 3 through 14, the Select Board voted to recommend approval of these articles. Article 15, the Board voted to defer to the petitioner. Articles 16 through 26, the Board voted to recommend approval. In Articles 27 and 28, the Select Board voted to defer to the petitioners, as voted by Scott Wren, Chair, Sarah Ruffley, Vice Chair, Daniel Carpenter, and Steve Chambers.
Okay. Is Deb gonna go now? Yes. Okay, Deb.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? Now, can you? That's better. Welcome. Thank you all for coming. I'm pleased and proud to be here tonight as Superintendent of Schools to present our FY24 budget. This was a collaborative effort between staff, administrators, central office, and our school committee. And it reflects our commitment to our students, as well as a respect for the financial support that the generous townspeople of Auburn have given us for so very long. It reflects our mission and vision, which demonstrates a commitment to preparing our students for the opportunities and challenges of a changing world. It also reflects the goal found in the 2023 to 2026 strategic plan recently adopted by our school committee. And that reflects recommendations from an equity audit that was conducted in the spring of '22 and works to ensure that all of our students feel a sense of belonging, they feel safe, and they're challenged to reach their full potential. Our commitment to the academic achievement and the social, emotional well-being of our students remains strong. The newly adopted strategic plan has 3 areas of focus: teaching and learning, health, wellness, and safety, and community partnerships. In teaching and learning, the overall focus is providing students with rigorous academic, social, and social-emotional learning in a culturally conscious and inclusive learning environment. Health, wellness, and safety, as you might imagine, continues to focus on the physical safety of our students, along with their social-emotional safety and encouraging healthy lifestyles. Community partnerships, a long-standing hallmark of the Auburn Public Schools and the town community. We want to make sure our students become civic-minded individuals like all of you are, and that our partnerships with the community and our families help them to be successful. This graph is a demonstration of the overall enrollment in the Auburn Public Schools. You will see reflected that our overall enrollment stands at about approximately 2,570 students. This is lower than our highest enrollment year of 2018, which was at 2,637 students. Our class sizes remain steady for the most part, and although there are some fluctuations between Packagug and Bryn Mawr School, we're working to address those. We're very stable in this area. This school year, we have 17 school choice students at Auburn Middle School and 58 at Auburn High School for a total of 75. For the 2023-2024 school year, the school committee has approved 15 seats at both Auburn Middle and Auburn High School. This is due to, we have 13 graduating seniors this year that are school choice students and a small incoming 6th grade class. So we're able to accommodate some additional school choice students. And as you can imagine, this is a source for funding for some of the offsets that we use in our budget. And again, we look at this very carefully each school year. This data reflects a slight decrease in the number of students who have qualified for free and reduced school lunch from last year. As you can imagine, this drives some of the grant funding that we receive. But we believe it's a little bit lower this year due to the fact that school lunch has been universally free for all of our students, and thus some people did not complete the application. We're still waiting to hear what the state will decide for next school year. We don't have a firm answer on that yet related to school lunch. So some considerations about the 2024 budget. We have maintained our staffing levels to meet the class size recommendations of our school committee, 25 or less at the elementary and appropriate at middle and high school. We've also continued to focus on our special needs students to make sure that they receive what they need. Student enrollment was used as our October 1st numbers reflected. Our school-based materials and supplies have been nearly level funded with very little variation in that from this current budget. The only new positions are for a 1.0 special education teacher at Swanson Road Intermediate and a 1.0 ABA. We are beginning a new intensive needs classroom that will support 8 students, and they're just moving up from the primary and they need that support. And again, we continue to focus on the social and emotional well-being of our kids. Instructional assistants and ABAs are shown in this budget in their current position, but there will be some movement as we move students up between the schools. We've worked to maintain a very robust nursing corps, and we couldn't have survived the last few years without them, and they continue to play an integral role in the work that we do. We've level funded the grant monies using the FY23 amounts for the 240 grant, the Title I grant, and the Title II grant, as those are offsets that continue to reduce the impact of the operating budget. They typically don't vary dramatically, typically by just a few $1,000s. We've projected the Medicaid reimbursement to be $125,000 as adjusted and approved at the fall town meeting, while also anticipating the use of any carryover funds if available. Special education circuit breaker reimbursement is anticipated conservatively at 70% for this budgeting process, and busing registration fees will be utilized to provide $145,000 from the revolving fund as an offset to the budget. And we continue to maximize the use of offsets from our revolving accounts. Those include building rentals, satellite and Galaxy accounts, as well as preschool and athletic revolving. Again, I spoke already about the school choice program with currently 75 seats. We believe that we'll end up with 92 filled seats, which brings in additional revenue to the school district. We're just waiting to see if folks have accepted their acceptance letters, so we need to finalize that. As was the case in FY23, we've budgeted for 11 regular education school buses, assuming about the same number of students will ride the bus. AA Transportation has collaborated with us to arrive at a 9% overall increase for the next 2 years. I will tell you 9% seems a lot, but many of the districts across the state are seeing double-digit increases in busing, up to 30% in some cases. And we also, thankfully, when we did this contract several years ago, there's no fuel escalation cost in it, so that won't impact the price that we're paying for our busing. Increases in contracted services are being seen across the country, and those are reflected in the budget, just for the maintenance of our building and such. Oil pricing for FY24 was bid in conjunction with the French River Collaborative, and the price will be 3.0442 per gallon. The current electricity contract was negotiated last spring in collaboration with the town and reflects a 30% increase in electricity costs from our previous contract. We continue to use solar credits from the rooftop arrays at the middle school and at the high school, along with credits received from the town solar project in Rutland. And projected offsets for this budget are $3,737,040. And that also includes $542 in ESSER funds that were a one-time source and will disappear in the fall of '24. The one remaining item is that we received notification of an unanticipated 14% increase in special education private school tuitions for our students who are placed out of district. This was determined by the Operational Services Division of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Executive Office for Administration and Finance. Based on uncertainty with state financing, it may be required that we may have to access the Special Education Stabilization Fund, which was established some time ago for this type of rainy day. This came along well after our budget planning process. It is impacting every town and municipality across the state. For us, it is approximately $100,000 is what we would be impacted. Many towns are seeing a much greater impact. We are also hopeful that the state will come through with a rainy day account to help us so that we won't have to fund that full $100,000, but that has yet to be determined. So we're in a little bit of a holding pattern yet. In this, right now, we have 8 students placed in out-of-district private schools and 9 in collaborative out-of-district placements. So final thoughts, we present tonight a budget draft of $30,132,276. That's an increase of $1,159,206 over the FY23 amended budget, reflecting a 4% increase. And again, I just want to thank the town, thank the school committee for the support that you continue to provide to us. And I promise you, we are trying to be respectful and responsible in what we do for you and for our kids. So thank you.
Thank you, Deb. Are there any other committees that wish to make a report? Seeing none, we will now go to Article 2. Ms. Goodrich?
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town meeting vote to fix the salary and compensation of elected town officers for fiscal year 2024 as follows. Town Moderator, $296. Selectman Chairman, $1,740. And the remaining 4 selectmen, $6,097.
Got it? No. Is there a second? Please raise your hand and keep them up so that,
Yes, somebody put their hand up.
you got it? Are there any questions on Article 2? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article, oh, we have to vote. Okay. Okay, please vote yes or no on Article 2. Okay. Yes. 72 yes, 7 no, 1 abstention is the vote. Thank you. Ms. Goodrich? Oh, yeah, it's just a majority.
Article 3, Mr. Moderator, I move that the town meeting raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, or otherwise provide for and appropriate to pay town debts and charges for the ensuing year, The several sums of money in the proposed budget, as stated in the recommendation of finance, columns on page 19 through 64, inclusive of the Town of Auburn fiscal year 2024 budget and annual town meeting warrant totaling $75,711,683, and to raise said sum by transferring from available funds $15,000 from cemetery lots and graves, $30,000 from pension reserves, $5,000 from wetland funds, $49,500 reserved for appropriation dog licenses, $50,000 reserved for appropriation Casella host agreement, $1,504,000 from reserve for appropriation ambulance, $25,000 from overflow trash bags, $56,084.30 from high school, middle school debt reserve, $20,000 from perpetual care, and by raising and appropriating or otherwise providing for the balance of said sums, each total amount as printed in the recommendation Finance Committee column of the 2023-2024 budget to be considered and specified departmental appropriation. And further, that the Finance Committee is authorized to transfer between the individual accounts which total any specific appropriation when requested by a department and the committee feels such transfer is in the best interest of the town.
Is there a second? There is a second. Okay, what I'm going to do, as usual, is that starting on page 17 on the budget, I will read the totals, say the Finance Department and DPW. If anybody has a problem with anything in the area of that particular total, say question or something, and I'll put a mark down. Well, or do you want me to do this first? Okay, then, all right. The town manager is going to do his presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Can everyone hear me? Thank you. Ed Kazanovich, Town Manager. Before I get started, I just want to draw your attention to a correction in your green book. On page 5, 3 lines from the bottom, under stabilization, there's a value of $270,471. That should be down 2 lines under annual town meeting warrant articles. There is no money being appropriated from stabilization tonight under Article 3. And with that, I want to present to you the FY24 budget. We have recommended total appropriations of $80,291,108.38, with an offsetting equal amount of revenue of the same amount of money, giving us a balanced budget. When we look at our total revenue sources, we look at local receipts, estimated at $11,504,565.06. That's a increase over current fiscal year of $673,158.82, or a 6.21% increase. Cherry sheet revenue is up $1,006,213 over current fiscal year. That's a 6% increase. When we look at our tax levy, it's an increase of $778,193. That includes $500,000 of new growth. That's an increase of 1.75%. Our debt exclusion is going down by $613,000 over current fiscal year, $399.29. That's a decrease of 16.57%. And our available funds is down $613,399.29. That's a 16.57% decrease. A correction, I misread. Debt exclusion is down 49,533.82, 1.78% decrease. Total revenue is up 1,794,631.81, a 2.29% increase. And our appropriations are up by an equal value, 1,794,631.81, also up 2.29%. As we break down our various revenue sources, we have total tax levy of $45,198,641. Based on that amount of tax levy being raised, the tax utilization built into the budget is about 19.63% out of 2.5, where it raises an additional $258,634. It uses $500,000 of estimated new growth, and our 5-year average is $748,422. So if we continue that trend, we're going to have some additional financial flexibility by increasing that, and with the potential of reducing our tax levy obligation. This budget, in accordance with our adopted financial policies, uses 1/10 of 2.5 for our capital budgets. It's about $131,000. Our FY24 budget raises approximately $2.728 million outside of the levy for our Auburn High School and Auburn Middle School debt obligations. And as the chair of the Finance Committee indicated in her presentation, the Auburn High School debt is going to be retired in this fiscal year that you're voting tonight. As we look at our 5-year average of new growth, it's 748,422. Last year, the current year we're in, was 698. The high water mark was in FY20 of 931. So if we continue that trend, hopefully we can reduce the level of taxation at the fall town meeting. Taxes currently at 82.92% of our total levy allowable. Our excess levy, given the recommendation tonight, would increase to $9,309,000, and that would leave about 17.08% of unused levy that we could tax, but we are not. When we look at the level of taxation from FY20 to FY24 recommended, if you look at the values in the yellow box, you're going to see our level of taxation burden has been going down over that period of time. Back in FY20, the level of taxation used to fund our budget was 61.80%. The recommended amount for FY24 is 59.69%. That's a good trend. And this also depicts our level of taxation over a 14-year period of time. As you can see, our excess levy back in FY12 was about 1.3, and it's increased to 9.309 estimated for FY24. The values in red represent the level of taxation for those years. As you can see, there are some years we tax at 0.00%. We haven't come close to 2.5 over that period of time. That's something we are very proud of, and we present to you as town meeting members on an annual basis. The total savings over that 14-year period was $67,224,000 achieved. When we look at our cherry sheet state aid, under the governor's recommendation, we are getting a $17,771,631. In terms of Chapter 70, that's an increase of $1,099,153, or 7.83%. When we look at our unrestricted local aid, it's an increase of $39,677, or 2.04% over current fiscal year, with total revenue up 6% over current fiscal year at $1,794,000. $6,213. When we look at our cherry sheet assessments, the governor's recommendation is $591,547. That's a decrease of $155,520, or 20.81% over the current fiscal year. And the primary reason for that reduction is in the area of school spending tuition. Our assessment is down about $133,000. We're looking at our available funds. We're estimating $3,088,048. This relies on ambulance receipts to fund not only a portion of the fire operating budget, but also the capital. Under Article 4 of $1,504,000. It relies on retained earnings of $755,660 in the SOAR enterprise account. It relies on retained earnings in our cable ACTV enterprise account of $36,000 as an offset to our capital recommendation. It also provides a debt exclusion offset. This is a reserve that we use to offset our debt and interest for the Auburn Middle School of $56,084. It recommends free cash in the amount of $201,000 for outside articles, and it relies on a recommendation on a premium, bond sale premium that we realized when we went to market back in November of '21. We went out and borrowed $5 million. We got a premium on that sale of about $460,000 that we set in reserve that can be used for capital purchases only. When we look at our local receipts, we're estimating $11,504,565. That's an increase of about $673,000 over the current fiscal year, or about a 6.21% increase. It increases our estimated motor vehicle excise by $100,000, our hotel motel by $100,000. It increases meal tax by $25,000. It relies on a trash fee increase as a result of increasing costs for solid waste collection and disposal of $142,000. That not only covers our direct costs, but our indirect costs as well. We're relying on an increase or a return on our investments by $10,000 because interest rates are going up. And all other local receipts are level funded at this time, and as usual, we will provide a budget to actual statement and a recommendation at the fall town meeting based upon the final actuals for FY23. So when we break down all of our revenue sources, tax levy represents 56.29%. Cherry sheet state aid represents 22.13%. Our local receipts represents 14.33%. Our available funds at 3.85%, and our debt exclusion at 3.40%. For total revenue of $80,291,108.38. And there's the 80 million. It's a 1.794% increase, or 2.29 over current fiscal year. The appropriation portion of this presentation is in your green book. I'm not going to go over that since you have that before you. But this represents the recommendation of the Finance Committee that is reflective in Article 3. Highlights on the expense side. We can tell you the recommendation covers all wage obligations throughout the town. It provides for an adjustment in all fixed costs resulting from current economic and inflationary factors. The budget recommends the following positions: 2 public safety dispatchers, funded 100% by ambulance proceeds. 1 patrolman with a start date of 1/1/24. That would be an SRO officer, a school resource officer. It provides for a full-time position as superintendent indicated through her presentation, a special needs teacher, and 1 ABA technician. This budget level funds group health, and it utilizes the equity that we built up in our trust of about $11 million to stabilize the annual increase. This budget increases the Worcester Regional Retirement Assessment by $462,000. That's a 10.80% increase. That is the actual assessment that we received from the Worcester Regional Retirement System. And as indicated by the chair of the Finance Committee, it takes advantage of a discount of $82,000 by providing that payment to them on July 1st of 2023. It increases our Medicare costs by $20,000 to meet its employer's 1.45% match. That's a federal obligation. It meets all of our long-term debt and interest obligations. This budget assumes a short-term borrowing for our capital needs this coming November. And the budget does provide for costs associated outside of the levy to raise our debt exclusion costs for the Auburn Middle School, $2.728 million. It meets our Bay Path assessment, which is a minor increase. I can tell you our student enrollment is down 1 from the current fiscal year. The motor vehicle fuel recommendation was based upon a price of $3.33 when we formulated the budget. We know that price is going to fluctuate, and it may require an adjustment at the fall town meeting one way or another. There is no current, thank you. There is no current appropriation request for stabilization or OPEB. We typically do that at the fall town meeting. This uses the governor's budget cherry sheet charges and assessments. This budget, as I stated earlier, applies our adopted financial policies that were adopted by the Finance Committee and the Board of Selectmen in 2012. The budget includes under Article 4, total capital request of $3,053,650. The CIP budget does rely on a borrowing of $941,000 to fund our FY24 capital need. Here's a summary of the funding sources used to fund our capital request. Once again, total capital, $3,053,650. As we look at the allocation of costs associated with our recommended expense for all budgets, as you can see, the largest portion of our expense comes in the form of education, $31,693,000 and change. That's about a 39.47% of the total entire budget. That's followed by employee benefits at 17.36%, public safety 12.66%, debt and interest 6.35%, public works 8.56%, general government 5.65%, our assessments, overlay, CIP, and all outside articles 5.70%, solid waste represents 1.69%, and public services represents 1.46%, and our inspectional and economic services represents approximately 1%. In summary, our total appropriations of $80,291,108.38 is up $1,794,631.81, or 2.29% over current fiscal year. To recap, once again, we have total appropriations offset by total revenue of $80,291,108.38. The unused portion of the levy allowable under Prop 2.5 is $1,039,087.08. This, once again, taxes at a percentage of 19.63%, or $250,000 of the total allowable levy, under 2.5 of about $1.3 million. So with that, Mr. Moderator, that concludes my presentation, and I'll turn it back to you to read the departments and
All right.
the,
Thank you.
Read the departments, Suzanne. Read the departments.
Yeah, what I was going to do, yeah. Oh, but the other thing that should have been said earlier, all town meeting members, lest there be confusion, are supposed to be in the front of the auditorium, not in the back. Okay, so I'm going to read now. Finance Department total, $784,613. DPW Department total, $6,869,780. Development Inspector, no, that's not a total, so we don't read it. Okay. Bottom line total, $75,711,683. And
Okay, Charlie,
what,
go back on 17.
back on
And
17.
only read all of these.
You want me to read all of
Yeah,
them?
he said just the departments.
got a summary, these are the departments, but you're going to read all the way down.
You want me to read all those figures? Okay, okay, fine. So I'm going to read all these figures. Thank you. Starting now on the top of page 17. No, I'm fine.
Would that help?
It might. Okay, moderator, 296. Selectmen total, 10,737. Executive Office of Town Manager, $446,432. Finance Committee total, $1,015. Reserve total, $310,000. And the total of all of that is $784,613. Continuing ahead to law total, 144, no, wait a minute. I got to see what it says there.
Finance has its own total, it's not the sum of the ones up above it.
Huh? I gave that total.
Its own total.
Huh?
Finance department total.
Yeah, I gave the finance department total, $784,613.
Yeah,
And now I'm going down to,
and you did human resources,
Hmm?
info technology. Did you do all these?
no, I'm going to start them now. I
Oh,
tried.
y'all go in separate page by page?
That's what he was telling me to do.
Oh, I think you put it right here in this. Okay.
So, let's see, human resources. All right, wait, law total, $145,000. Human resources, $299,738. Info technology, $334,209. Town clerk total, $213,187. Election total, $50,244. General services total, $52,500. No, that's not, that's evidently town hall, right? I'm trying to read across. General services total, $1,702,889. School, $30,132,276. Police, $4,708,132. Public safety, dispatch, $871,728. Fire, $4,570,424. Emergency manager, $17,500. Bay Path, $1,506,889. Norfolk Agricultural, $54,355. And that whole DPW total is $6,869,780,000. Continuing down to, going down toward the bottom, waste total, $1,433,694. Development inspection services, $784,855,000. And now turning to page 18. Let's see. Appeals total $14,472. Department Public Services, $1,216,980. Going down to Youth Commission, $144,012. Maturing debt, $4,278,750. Interest, $817,233. And pension total, $13,939,743. Did somebody say something? Oh, did I say thousand? Sorry, $13,939,743. Now, bottom total, $75,711,683. Now, Auburn Schools, $30,132,276. Vape, we don't need those. We don't need any more. And I didn't hear any stops, did I? I didn't think so. No. So are there any questions then on this budget? Seeing none, and this is just a majority vote on the budget, please signify by saying yes or no on your machine. Okay. Yes, 70, no, 5, abstention, 0. Thank you. Article 4, now Article 4, after Ms. Goodrich reads it, Article 4 will be a 2/3 vote because there is an actual borrowing of money in it. Ms. Goodrich.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town meeting vote approve the 5-year capital improvement plan for the town manager, information technology, town clerk, planning, police, fire, engineering, fleet maintenance unit, highway, sewer, cemetery, senior center, elder affairs, library, parks, Auburn Community Television, Packard Jog Golf Course, and schools, as stated on pages 66 through 72 inclusive, of the Town of Auburn fiscal year 2024 budget and annual town meeting warrant. And further to approve an appropriation of $3,053,650 to fund the fiscal year 2024 capital improvement program as specified on pages 65 through 72 under the column entitled Finance Committee Recommendation, and to raise said sums by borrowing and appropriating the sum of $1,580,990 from general fund revenues, $30,000 from CIP expendable trust, $400,660 from sewer enterprise retained earnings, $36,000 from cable access enterprise retained earnings, $50,000 from receipts reserved bond premiums, I also move that the town meeting authorize the borrowing of $951,000 for a period of up to 10 years for the items as identified in the 5-year capital improvement plan, and any premium received by the town upon the sale of any bonds or notes approved by this vote, less any premium applied to the payment of the cost of issuance of such bonds or notes, may be applied to the payment of costs approved by this vote in accordance with Chapter 44, Section 20 of the general laws, therefore reducing the amount authorized to be borrowed to pay such costs by a like amount. I further move that prior to purchase, all over-the-road vehicles shall be marked on both front door panels as property of the town of Auburn for official use only, and have a permanently affixed town seal, and that the expenditure of funds so appropriated shall be under the direction of the chief procurement officer of the town or school department.
Is there a second? You got it? Are there any questions? Yes.
War. What are we looking to borrow for the golf course? I thought the golf course, the town was never going to have to pay for anything, that it was going to be raising its own money and,
Okay. Mr. Kazanovich?
Just give me a minute, I'm taking a look at that.
in recent town meetings, we've always said that we didn't have to come up with any money for the golf course.
First of all, there is no borrowing identified for FY24 for the golf course. But any capital that's purchased for the golf course is paid for exclusively by the golf course through retained earnings and user fees that they collect for services they provide.
Okay, I've seen also a lot of vehicles driving around town with blue license plates that are not leaded. Can we check those out and get them leaded?
Did you say that are not lettered?
That are not lettered with the
I
seal?
believe that was brought to our attention, and I believe that has been rectified.
I think I've seen a couple white ones recently, within the last week.
I don't know of any, but certainly we'll take a look at it.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? There being none, we will now vote. We vote. Well, okay. The vote is 77 to 2 to 0. That is certainly well into 2/3, so it passes. And now, what we're going to do, I am going to have Ms. Goodrich make a motion to move Articles 27 and 28 up from the end of the meeting when everybody is tired to be taken now. And we've talking about that. This is something that really, there's no reason why all these zoning articles are at the end of the meeting. Somebody, I guess, said, well, it had something to do, George Washington said we should do it. Well, I knew George, as you know, and certainly, I never heard him say that. So Article 27 is on page 75. Article 28 is on page 77. Both of them take a 2/3 vote. And when you came in tonight also, there was information on Articles 27 and 28 when you registered. Okay.
Mr. Moderator, I move to move forward Articles 27 and 28.
Is there a second? There is a second. Okay. All right, so we'll start with Article, as I say, Article 27, you also got when you came in tonight. Hmm?
She made a motion.
Oh, yes, we're gonna move, yes, okay, sorry, yep. We're gonna move it. Yep. Yes, 68, no, 2, abstention, 0. Okay. So Article 27, there was a sheet when you registered tonight on Article 27. So,
Mr.
Ms.
Moderator,
Goodrich, would you please deal first with Article 27?
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town meeting vote to amend the Town of Auburn zoning bylaws, Section 7 signs, as printed in the May 2nd, 2023 annual town meeting warrant.
Is there a second? There is a second. Keep your hands up in case, did you get it? Okay. Are there any questions on Article 27? I'm not seeing people well, but I don't think I see any questions. Right? Yes, start the voting, please, and remember, this is a two-thirds vote.
Yes, no.
74 yes, 4 no, 1 abstention, obviously an easy two-thirds. Thank you. All right, Ms. Goodrich, Article 28, please.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town meeting vote to amend the Town of Auburn zoning bylaws, Section 4.1 floodplain district, as printed in the May 2nd, 2023 annual town meeting warrant.
Is there a second? There is a second. Are there any questions on Article 28? Seeing none, we will now vote. Yes, 75, no, 4, abstention, 0. Again, obviously a two-thirds vote. Now please turn in your book to page 73. Article 5, Ms. Goodrich.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town meeting vote to authorize the town treasurer, with the approval of the Board of Selectmen, to borrow money from time to time in anticipation of revenue to be received during the financial year beginning July 1, 2023, and ending June 30th, 2024, and to issue a note or notes that may be given for a period of less than 1 year.
Is there a second? There is a second. Keep your hands up, please, so that Deb can make sure she gets the name. Okay, are there any questions on Article 5? Seeing none, we will now vote on Article 5. Yep. 79 yes, 1 no, no abstentions. Article 5 passes. Article 6, Ms. Goodrich.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town meeting vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to submit applications for any available state or federal funds, including Department of Elder Affairs formula grant funds, which funds the board determines to be beneficial to the town, and to authorize the expenditure of any money received as a result of said applications.
Is there a second? Okay. Are there any questions on Article 6? Seeing none, we will now vote. Eighty yes, no, no, and no abstain. Article 7. Ms. Goodrich.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town meeting vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to sell at public auction or by sealed bid or at assessed value under special circumstances any properties which the town may have acquired or may thereafter acquire through tax title foreclosure proceedings, and to sign, acknowledge, and deliver in the name and under the seal of the town deeds therefore.
Is there a second? Okay. Are there any questions on Article 7? No, okay, that's somebody drinking a bottle, okay. You do, there's a question. Okay, please come up to the microphone. Whoever has the question. Well, you do, I'm sorry, we can't see you I can't see you very well. You're in the dark, I'm in the light. Sorry about that.
No worries, sir. Matthew Benoit, Precinct 4. Is this a permanent policy that we're looking to adopt here, or is this just something for this year, and do we have particular properties that are coming up? Thank you.
Mr. Benoit, I can tell you this is a standard article that's voted every year.
Yeah.
I think the last time we went to a public auction was probably about 8 to 10 years ago. And you may have been familiar with those properties. We do try to notify our top 30 delinquents every year to see if we can come to some type of an agreement on a payment for those amounts that are in arrears. But we haven't filed any foreclosures in quite a while. But that's something that we will continue to pursue.
Thank you, sir.
Are there any other questions? Seeing none, all start voting. Okay. Yes, 78, no, 1, abstention 1. Article 8, Ms. Goodrich.
I move that the town meeting vote to authorize the town treasurer to enter into compensatory balance agreements during fiscal year 2024 as permitted by Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53F, or any other enabling statute. If voted, this would permit the treasurer to maintain specific sums of money and deposit in banks in return for banking services.
Is there a second? There's a second. Are there any questions? Seeing none, we can vote. They're really too dark out there. Yeah, we need, yeah. Vote 80 to nothing to nothing, 80, yeah. Article 9.
Article 9, I move that the town meeting vote to establish or renew revolving funds for various town and school programs in accordance with Mass General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 53D, and Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 71.
Is there a second? There is. You get it? Are there any questions on Article 9? Seeing none, we shall vote. Seventy-nine yes, 1 no, 0 abstentions. Article 10, Ms. Goodrich.
Article 10, I move that the town meeting vote to authorize the town manager to enter into a contract or contracts with the Massachusetts Department of Transportation for the construction and maintenance of public highways for the period commencing July 1, 2023, and ending June 30th, 2024.
Is there a second? There is, thank you. Are there any questions? Seeing none, we can vote. Seventy-nine yes, no, no, and no abstention. Article 11, Ms. Goodrich.
Article 11, I move that the town meeting vote to appropriate from available funds a sum of money if it becomes available from the Massachusetts Department of Transportation, Chapter 90 bond issue proceeds to be used for the repair and maintenance of town roads in conformance with the Massachusetts general laws.
Is there a second? Yes, there is. Did you get it? Are there any questions? Seeing none, we can vote. Eighty yes, no, no, no abstention. Article 11. 12, Article 12, sorry, yep.
Article 12, I move that the town meeting vote to appropriate $125,000 from Medicaid receipts within the general fund revenues to the Auburn School Department operating budget for fiscal year 2024 to fund supplies and medical, therapeutic, and educational services for significantly disabled special needs students, as well as tuition and transportation to and from outside placements or within the district for special needs students.
Is there a second? Got it? Yes. Are there any questions? Seeing none, we can vote. No. Seventy-eight yes, 0 no, 0 abstention. Article 13. Ms. Goodrich.
Article 13, I move that the town meeting vote to appropriate $9,947.38, which is the interest earned by the Auburn High School Gymnasium Health and Recreational Trust Fund to offset school department costs at Auburn High School in support of community health and recreational activities at Auburn High School Gymnasium and related facilities and equipment.
Is there a second? Okay, you got it. Are there any questions? Seeing none, we can vote. Seventy-seven yes, no, and no abstentions. Article 14, Ms. Goodrich.
Article 14, I move that the town meeting vote to appropriate $4,142.05 from McKinney-Vento receipts within the general fund revenues to the Auburn School Department operating budget for fiscal year 2024 to fund transportation for students to and from school who have become homeless during the fiscal year.
Is there a second? Okay. Are there any questions? Seeing none, we can vote. Oh, that's not sure. Yeah. $77 yes, no 2, no abstentions. Article 15, Ms. Goodrich.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town meeting vote to postpone this article indefinitely.
Is there a second? There is a second. Are there any questions? Seeing none, we can vote. $78 yes, no, and no abstention. Article 16,
Article 16, Mr. Moderator, I move that the town meeting vote to establish a special purpose stabilization fund from opioid settlement proceeds for educational/health-related purposes. All revenues from settlement will be dedicated to such fund.
is there a second? Got it. Are there any questions? Seeing none, we can vote. Yeah, I don't. I'm slow. Yes, 76, no, 3, abstention, 0. Article 17,
Article 17, I move that the town meeting vote to appropriate $40,000 from free cash to cover costs not reimbursed under policy coverage from damage from the burst pipe at the senior center.
Is there a second? There is. Okay. Are there any questions? Yes, Mr. Largess?
Danny Largess, Precinct 4. Did we determine why that pipe burst? And how can we keep it or any other pipes in the senior center from bursting again? Because if I'm not mistaken, that was supposed to be the warming shelter for that weekend.
So I can tell you the cause of the bursting of the pipe was due to extreme cold weather of 16 below zero that on, I believe, February 4th. The pipe was located in the ceiling above the kitchen area and was exposed to some cold air that settled up above the ceiling. The heat was on in the facility. I can tell you, talking to our insurance rep, that they had a exorbitant amount of claims as a result of the cold weather. It's something we haven't seen in a long time. How do we prevent that from happening in the future? I think we have to install some air vents in the ceiling that allows warm air to penetrate that area. We've never had a problem with that before. We were quite honestly concerned about a number of our public buildings as a result of that cold snap that we had back in early February.
So it's probably a pretty good thing that we didn't open up the warming shelter up there?
We were prepared to open up a warming shelter. Unfortunately, the cold lifted the following day. We got no calls at the police department. We were prepared to react in whichever way we had to, but the calls never came in.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Seeing none, we can vote. Seventy-nine yes, no, and no abstention. Article 18.
Article 18, I move that the town meeting vote to appropriate $225,856 from receipts reserved for appropriation, bond premium reserve account number 26135, for the payment of a lease purchase obligation for 3 police vehicles fully equipped.
Is there a second? There is. Are there any questions? Seeing none, we can vote on Article 18. Yes, 76, no, 1, abstention, 1. Article 19.
Article 19, I move that the town meeting vote to appropriate $25,000 from overlay surplus 01-2230 for training, support, and services.
Is there a second? Okay. Are there any questions? Seeing none, we can vote.
There's,
Is there? Way up back? Okay. Yeah.
Doug Nelson, Precinct 2. What type of training is this? And for who? Where's the training happening?
Mr. Nelson, our chief assessor, is making his way down to give you an explanation.
Good evening, Seth Willard, Assessing Division. The $25,000 training and support is for enhanced analysis of personal property. RRC is a vendor that does our personal property analysis, training, support, and also that encompasses our other vendor for vision, for more enhanced in-depth analysis and support.
Are there any other questions? Okay, let's vote. I'm going to do something about this. It's ridiculous. They've got to be turned off. I mean, it's ridiculous. I can't see them. Did they just turn them off? Oh. Going for it. Yeah, I'm done. I'm trying. Yes, 66, no, 13, one abstention. It passes. Article 20.
Article 20, I move that the town meeting vote to appropriate from free cash the sum of $61,000 for software cost.
Is there a second? There is. Okay. Are there any questions? Seeing none, we can vote. Six to one. Yes, 70, no, 7, abstention 1. Article 21.
Article 21, I move that the town meeting vote to appropriate $16,720 from fiscal year 2024 general fund revenues to fund a regional housing coordinator.
Is there a second? There is. Are there any questions?
Yes, right in front.
There is a question. Yeah. Please come up. Is it John Stencil? I can't see anybody.
John Stencil, Precinct 5. What does this article mean? What are we doing?
Mr. Moderate, my name is Dr. Adam Menard. I'm the town planner. The town is looking to fund with the partnership of 4 other towns to fund a regional housing coordinator through the Central Mass Regional Planning Commission. The other towns are Shrewsbury, Grafton, Mendon, and Boylston. The idea of this program is to help Auburn meet its requirements from the state, including the MBTA community requirements, the 40B affordable housing requirements, as well as help the town meet some of its goals in its housing production plan. This is a way for the town to have access to a specialized individual with housing experience.
Are there any other questions? Yes, sir.
Tim LaBelle, Precinct 2. Is there anything that this position would do that the current town planner or planning board cannot do?
And it's a partnership with multiple communities, so the CMRPC will bring in somebody that's a specialist in housing beyond just current staff capabilities, as well as bringing in ideas from other towns such as Shrewsbury, Grafton, Mendon, and Boylston. It's kind of like partnering with multiple towns to learn what other communities are doing to help us meet these requirements. There are a lot of requirements from the state that the town needs to meet, and this person would help, as well as would also help, that the town currently is going to receive 1 year free of this grant program, and this funding will help keep the individual for multiple years.
Thank you for that information. My question, though, was, is there anything that this position is going to be doing that the planning board or the town planner cannot do currently?
Yeah, this will bring a specialist who's more familiar with the laws and requirements of the state than current planning board members, myself, or other members of the town staff may have. So it's increasing the town's capacity to build Auburn's housing stock, meet its requirements the state has, but particularly in the MBTA community requirements from the state. They're coming out with new regulations all the time. This is a person that specializes in these laws beyond town staff.
Are there any other questions? Seeing none, we can vote. Oh, there it is, okay. 63 yes, 13 no, and 2 abstentions. Article 22, Ms. Goodrich.
Article 22, I move that the town meeting vote to appropriate the sum of $2,895 from fiscal year 2024 general fund revenues for the purpose of an all ZBA/planning site plan, variances, special permits, A&R, and subdivision records in one database.
Is there a second? There is. Got it. Are there any questions? Seeing none, we can vote. Yes, 76, no 1, abstention 1. Article 23,
Article 23, I move that the town meeting vote to appropriate the sum of $20,000 from available funds, election drop-off box 251-62002, $3,156. Fiscal year 21, November election postage 251-62003, $2,225.56. State early voting 251-622-017, $11,232.32. And state primary election 251007, $3,386.12 for a high-speed image cast central bundle tabulator for use with all VBM/ABS ballots at elections.
is there a second? You got it. Are there any questions? Yes, sir.
Tim LaBelle, Precinct 2. I don't know that much about the current systems. Is the current system not in operation anymore? Are they getting old and we need to replace them? What's the story there?
The current systems will be used on Election Day. They just don't process the ballots as quickly as this can. So This will primarily be used just for vote by mail and absentee ballots, which can process them like 100 a minute, where the other ones take a minute a ballot to go through.
Are those ballots different than the ones we use on election day?
Vote by mail ballots are the same, they're just a different color, but they're folded, so they take longer to put through and process.
Okay, pardon me, I'm not quite understanding why we need the additional machines then. Is it not possible to use the current ones for
When you
mail-in
have,
ballots?
when it's a presidential election and you have close to 5,000 mail-in ballots that need to be processed through the voting tabulators on election day, plus have, close to 80,000 voters that come out for that general election, it's hard to process all these ballots to get them through, and we don't want to make voters wait. So this is going to allow those to move quickly.
So the current issue is a volume issue, which is why we're bringing
No.
in the new Dominion
The
system?
current tabulators will still be used on election day. This is primarily only going to be used for the voted ballots, absentee and vote by mail ballots, to process only those.
Okay. How are those currently processed then?
They're either processed early voting, where we do it before election day, if we're able to, or they're done on election day.
Using the current machines? correct?
Yes. But the current machines are very slow, so it takes a long time to get those ballots through.
Are there any other questions? Seeing none, we can vote.
Votes.
66 yes, 14 no, no abstention. Article 24,
Article 24, I move that the town meeting vote to appropriate the sum of $150,000 from sewer enterprise retained earnings for engineering and design services to evaluate and rehabilitate a portion of the 16-inch ductile iron force main which conveys sewerage from the Seward Street Pump Station.
is there a second? You got it. Are there any questions?
Ed, Tim Lubell, Precinct 2. Ed, can you just clarify the sewer retained earnings, exactly what that is and where it comes from?
It's the equivalent of the general fund free cash. It's called retained earnings in an enterprise account. So it's basically bottom line profit, a cumulative profit that has been generated as a result of surplus revenue.
Are there any other questions? Seeing none, we can vote. Yes, 78, no, zero no, zero abstention. Article 25, Mr. Goodrich.
Article 25, I move that the town meeting vote to appropriate the sum of $200,000 from sewer enterprise retained earnings for engineering and design services to rehabilitate a portion of the 24-inch reinforced concrete sewer interceptor line, which runs from Goddard Drive to Route 20.
Is there a second? Okay, you got it? Okay. Are there any questions on Article 25? Seeing none, we can vote. I have it written down already. I have it written down already. You got it. Yeah. Yes, 79, no, 0, abstention, 0. Article 26. Right?
Article 26, I move that the town meeting vote to appropriate the sum of $100,000 from free cash for safety and electrical upgrades within the DPW highway garage.
Is there a second? Are there any questions? Yes, Mr. Largess.
Daniel Hodges, Precinct 4. At the pre-town meeting last week, we really didn't have an itemized list or an estimate or anything on this. Is there an update? Because I know when I go to the bank and want to borrow money, the bank says, what are you doing with it?
Good evening, Joanna Bicklin, DPW Director. So we had an estimate of the work that we are looking to do at the garage. We did reach out to an electrician to finalize the cost or get an estimate or a proposal for the work. So I can run through some of the items. So we have, for the electrical costs, the total is about 50% of the ask. It's about $55,000 for the replacement of an electrical panel and 3 sub-panels, in addition to cord reels from the ceiling, of allowing employees to plug in equipment without the use of extension cords, which are not allowed to be used more than 90 days. In addition to that, we're looking to purchase eye-wash stations, update our chemical labeling on all of our storage, and in addition to lockout, tagout. We're also looking for point of operation guarding for our equipment to protect our employees when they're actually using all of the equipment. As well as ladder replacement. We're looking for cylinder storage for oxygen, acetylene. Sorry, I'm not familiar with a lot of the chemicals, and helium. As well as secondary containment for hazardous chemicals and trench drain repair and possible extension of our trench drain.
And the bids have gone out for all of this?
We wouldn't be going out for bid until we actually have money appropriated. Bids would only be good for 30 days.
So it's still a guesstimate cost?
I looked at the cost of the equipment and I reached out for the larger chunk for an electrician, but we wouldn't be able to go out for bid for work that we don't have money appropriated.
And the vehicles are inside, why do they need to be plugged in? Diesels usually only have to be plugged in if they're outside.
I'm sorry?
You said plug in the vehicles instead of using extension cords.
No, we're looking for plugging in.
Tools. My apologies. All right, thank you.
Are there any other questions? Seeing none, we can vote. I can't hear you. Yeah, I'm sure we'll have one. And I want to thank Doreen and then dissolve. 74 yes, 5 no, no abstentions. I'd like to thank Ms. Goodrich for her great work tonight. I'd like to thank everybody else for their work. I entertain a motion to dissolve. Seconded and passed.